All right. Good morning, afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Helm developer call, Thursday, August the 29th. Welcome, everyone. Don't you note, this project, or Helm for this call, falls under the CNCF Code of Conduct, so please be polite. And this meeting is recorded, so if you don't want to be on camera, please turn your camera off. So with that, we will go into the agenda today. It looks pretty light at the moment. There are no announcements, unless someone wants to add a quick thing. No, okay, so we have in discussion, I have Imri, pre-delete hook, needs maintainer reviews, should be a easy PR. And let me stick the meeting notes in the Karen did already. Thank you, Karen, in the chat. Do we have Imri on the call?
Actually, I have an announcement. Since we've been waiting, but we haven't actually started the others. I should just say that the RC for the next minor release, we're going to be doing the RC on Tuesday, and the next minor release is scheduled fairly shortly. I just didn't actually have this on my mind, but Matt's been doing all those announcements, so I just haven't really done that lately. But let me take a quick look. And yes, the next minor 3.16.0 is due, is scheduled to come out next month, September 11th. But I'll be also shadowing Matt again on the minor release, because it's been actually years since I've done that. So yeah, I had done scheduled him on the patch release last time, and I'll do the minor. And I think maybe George, you may have expressed looking at that. But in any case, I will contact folks who expressed interest in joining. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, I can shadow if that's available. Be interested in the process at least. Cool. Thank you, Scott. And yeah, I guess part of that announcement is anything that wants to go into that release. I think the release candidate is cut the week before, so we should try and review anything we can to get in there. So I don't know if we got Emery on the call. I can open up this PR. I think, okay. Yeah, I think this needs probably I think Emery needs to be here to discuss this, just looking at the notes. Terry, OCI registry installed by Digest.
Yeah, I was just hoping to get some eyes on this PR. It's been around for a while, and security-wise, super important stuff to me, at least. So
nice. I know this was brought up, I believe, last week or 2 weeks ago, and I think Andy's been taking a look. Is it just needs another maintainer to review, or?
Yeah, Matt had left the comments, which I addressed, I guess, and yeah, whoever else can look at it, I guess. I appreciate it.
So I should have stuck this on the PR, and I think I forgot to hit submit. But since we're discussing it, the only comment I had is the logic in get OCI URI is relatively complicated, which is fine from a logic perspective, of course, but I think we'll need to produce like user-facing documentation as to how this is going to work. And bring this up, if it's not, it's hard to even like pull this out of the code. Like there's a lot of if vision is specified, but it's a digest, then you don't, I think an error. But you see where I'm going with this statement,
Yeah,
hopefully?
I guess, just, I guess based on the OCI spec, so, maybe best described over there. And I guess one more other thing on that, I'm in the process of upgrading Helm to V2 Oris Go, which I think is, scheduled for Helm V4. But anyway, I'm hoping at that point I can remove that logic that you're talking about during the upgrade, because it should be done down in the Oris Go code.
Okay, nice. Let me think. Yeah, I know there is a PR on Oris V2. There's an existing PR to do this. Is that yours? If it's not,
No,
then I
I'll look at
would,
it.
yeah, just so you don't duplicate effort. Okay. Is there anything else for discussion? It's in the Zoom chat. Discuss the review comment left on the PR for changing the type for the multi-secret driver. So this is pull request 12277.
Yeah, George. So that comment was left by Matt, but I don't see Matt is here. So shall we wait for Matt, or we do review? Because he's the reviewer currently.
I suspect he can't make it today, unfortunately.
So we can add it to the agenda for next week when he's there.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably the best.
Yeah, it's not a short PR. It's more than 500, 600 lines of code. Yeah. So I think Matt has the context currently, so it will not be possible to discuss that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you then. Yeah, let's schedule for next week. All right. HIP reviews. This is something I wanted to get to. There have been a few HIPs added recently, and I forgot to add them to the agenda, the HIP numbers, but there's been a Helm lint ignore. There's adding Q as a replacement for JSON schema validation. There has been there's another one which went in there. I think, shoot, I forget. If I was organized, I would have added these to the agenda, but I think it would be good to get some eyes on these HIPs, because I think various people from the community have come along and spent some time trying to contribute their
Do you want
ideas.
to
So
pull them? Do you want to pull them right now? You have a few minutes.
yeah.
Otherwise,
Okay.
I don't think people are going to find it on their own.
Okay, let me. So okay, so actually, this is one I was thinking. We want to see. Sorry, typing is as a moderator is always awkward. I think it was just these two. This one is a little old, but I think it could. Get base dependencies. Yeah, there's three hubs. So the second one, recover from stuck installs, is actually pretty interesting to me. So if Helm gets interrupted when it's doing an upgrade or an install or a rollback, it will overmark the release as in a pending state, but it has no way mechanism to recover from that pending state, which is awkward for anybody who encounters the situation. There's no way to recover. So I think this HIP is a pretty good contribution. But with that, I feel like I've done a lot of talking. Is there anything else that anybody would like to add? Oh, Evans has added 301.
Yeah. it's an-
Obtaining output from. This is NTIP actually. I think this is getting close if I remember Evans. But yeah, probably just needs to get it over the line.
Yeah, it is. Just needs to. Oh, what was that?
Yeah, I saw some activity happening where I think Matt was following up with Chris and getting some PRs cleaned up. So I'm curious on an update from what's happened on the calls. I guess I could look through the old YouTubes, but is that is this one getting pretty close based on what's been discussed on some of the developer calls recently?
I do remember it got discussed. I can't remember the details.
Okay.
So I can't. I would have to also go back and look at the notes.
Yeah, when the last time I asked, I've brought this up a few times, and Matt had mentioned that he'd take a look. The change that he asked for was done and merged, or rather, and updated in the PR. So it's more or less just looking at it and giving a thumbs up. I think Joe had already given it a thumbs up, or one of the maintainers had already. Yeah, so yeah, it's just really Matt taking a look at it and seeing whether his comment has been addressed.
Yes, thank you, Evans. Is there anything else before we go to shoutouts?
Yeah, I'm
so-
mute. Sorry about that. That's silly. Evans, do you mean the last comment thread on Matt's comment on the 22nd, February 22nd, about the breaking change comment?
Hold on. Let's see. You mean in the HIP? Yes. So that was.
Or no, sorry. To be clear, I was still. Wow, we've sort of switched a couple. I'm talking about the Oris migration link that you put in.
Oh yeah. So the Oris migration link. That was for, I think Terry mentioned that he's looking to upgrade to Oris 2. So I just wanted to point that PR to him to see what work has been done there, and also point the comment that is a bone of contention. So there is something that is a problem there to solve. So if he's working on that, probably look at that PR and contribute to see whether he'll find a solution to it.
Yeah, I remember we talked about. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was still something on your radar.
Yeah, so there was a breaking change because of how Oris 2 handles the Oris 1 Docker login workflow. So that was the issue. Yeah, but for the HIP, yeah, just Matt needs to take a look at it.
All right. Thank you. Shoutouts. Social media amplification. Assignments for next call. Would anybody like to do moderator notes, issue triage, peer review? And God, I think you're the official maintainer here. Can you be present next week?
I am just checking on that right now. On the 5th, yes, I can. I'll be here, and I
Alright.
can.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Oops, sorry, Karen.
For some reason, it felt like the agenda items went by pretty quickly. I started digging back into looking at the details on some of them, and yeah, I think what might be good is if folks that are really interested in some of these can chat on Slack in the meantime before the next meeting, because I fear we might run into the same problem where we kind of cover a lot, we mention a comment, and then we can sort of that's where it stops until the next meeting. So anyway, I know we're adding the next. We do have a few extra minutes, so I just wanted to make that note too. I've been conspicuously quiet, but you know, the ORSV2 is a really interesting one, and there are, you know, while Matt likes to remind us all that we're very strict on our security policy or our backwards compatibility policy. The only exception for certain breaking changes are security exceptions. And so I'd like to take a look at that last thread and see what CVEs are being discussed, you know, how or if they affect us, and see if that's a case that could be made for just moving past that one issue. So action item, I guess. Yeah, that's my request.
Yeah, that's an interesting, because it is a very minor change. It's already sticking to that letter of that law. But if or as one has a security vulnerability, then we're also in a bad place. So
Yep.
The author did also note in Slack at one point in time that there was a different API breaking change made to Helm in a different part of the OCI functionality. And he was a little annoyed, understandably, that was made, but this has been denied. But I guess that's a different discussion.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't use past mistakes as a justification for doing it in the future. But if there is a legitimate security concern, that could be one. So.
So for assignments, would anybody like to do issue triage? I'm gonna sit myself down for PR review.
Yeah, I can do issue triage.
Awesome, thank you, Evans. And notes, I will put myself down.
You can also put me down for PR triage. I'm still onboarding at my new job, but I can definitely dedicate a little bit of time to this for sure in this next week. So
Awesome, thank you.
Hey Scott, sorry I'm joining late. One of the things that I'll ask as you're triaging is
Yes.
there is the label of has one review. There's a whole giant pile of things that have been reviewed and just need a second person to do it. And
Yes.
Tuesday's release candidate cutting day. So if you want to go through some of that, that may be helpful too.
I will definitely prioritize those. Thank you for that reminder.
Sorry I'm late, y'all.
Hey Matt, welcome. Thank you for joining. We have 6 minutes, and Rajesh had a question for one of the discussions which was related to your PR comment. So if it's okay, we can jump back in time and bring this up.
Yeah. Hi, Matt. So we did had a look at the comment that you mentioned. So the point mentioned in review comment obviously is valid, that anyone and on an older version of Help client or using traditional secrets, and the chunk secrets would show up. However, when the size limit is hit, obviously the old client would not be able to manage deployment, and they would mandatorily need to switch to chunk secret storage. So your suggestion on, like, if you change the multi-secret driver to actually introduce a new type, there are a couple of points we might need to address. first one is like what I see is like the first secret type will be different from the subsequent secret type, obviously, when the one MB chunking is in place. Secondly, what I see is like it benefit phase installation. So for example, an upgrade from say single secret release version history to multi-secret release version history may not be possible. And suppose if you somehow allowed such kind of upgrade, then it's possible that the older Helm client may see an incomplete version history, right? And they can misinterpret actual deployed version, and maybe potentially they can base upgrades on wrong values. So one way to look into this was it's possible that we may add information in release description, which with relevant information that the upgrade has been switched to multi-secret, so that someone, when they are on the whole Helm client and do value retrieval, they can proceed with that version. What do you think about this? So I also have added several comments in the PR. If you want to have a readout, it's kind of big, but yeah, what's your suggestion regarding this?
I'll give you my thoughts here. With Helm, people don't tend to read the release notes. So putting something in the release notes is not going to work. Lots of people may install it on their local system via something like Homebrew, and the release notes aren't even presented to them. They just go upgrade their version there. And so backwards compatibility matters because of problems around this kind of thing and the reality of it. And when we do things that, cause backwards incompatibility problems or edge cases like this, then we as the maintainers start getting lots of issues into the issue queue. We got to triage it, deal with people. That's added workload on us to go ahead and maintain that. So one of the reasons I very much like things that work well with previous versions of Helm is people are using them first and foremost. Sometimes, I get an issue the other day that I was looking at that was somebody using Helm 3.4. I very much told them they need to upgrade, but there are people using older versions of Helm out there. And, there are people who, we've got 3.15 out now, they're going to be using that for quite some time to come in different environments. And so if somebody, does do, and, they may not check the release notes and things like that. And so we want to make sure backwards compatibility works. And if I remember right, there's a chunk thing in the key. That means you're going to run into weird problems if they try to do it because they don't have access to the information. I didn't test older Helm clients did test to fail and fall over and have issues here, right? And if that happens, that's going to create a broken experience where people don't know what's going on. They're going to come into our issue queue. They're going to file issues. We're going to have people triaging those issues and responding to people. We'll probably close it out once, have it open again, explain it, close it out again. And this will be a reoccurring theme for us. And that's just a lot of extra work. And so I was looking at ways of maybe having a different type. And I know it's more work to query multiple types of secrets and that kind of thing. But I'm also looking at making it simple because people, from a user experience standpoint, people aren't going to read the release notes. They are going to use older versions of Helm. And we probably will have cases of multi-secret conflicting with older versions of Helm, even without them realizing it. Maybe in one environment, they don't set it and they go look at it and then something explodes. Just see cases where problems are going to come up and we need to try to guard that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So let me get back on the PR and then we'll update. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. Hopefully that helps. I see in the Zoom chat that Shelton. Sorry,
Yeah.
Michael.
So, just quick comment and or question. So I work with JP Morgan. I finally got legal clearance to actually participate with this project. It took me, I don't know, 2 months. So I can actually do things now. With that said, I don't know if it's best to reach out to someone on Slack or just how do I get started? What are good first issues or kind of just walk through that process. We use Helm pretty extensively. We built a bit of an ecosystem around Helm for additional linting and tests and things. So we do quite a bit with it, and just want to get more involved in the project side and see where maybe we can trade secrets and You know, maybe we can add value to Helm, and maybe Helm can add value to what we're doing, and vice versa.
Can
That's okay.
here, I'll offer this. Can you find me in Slack and we'll set
Yep.
up some time to talk?
Do you normally use the Kubernetes or CNCF Slack?
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah,
It's
likewise.
very simple.
If
It's
you
my
have
first
any,
name, last name. Yeah. Go ahead, George.
likewise, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Slack. Either or. I prefer Kubernetes, but
Okay, yeah, I can do the Kubernetes one. That's fine. Cool. I'll reach out to both of you guys, George and Matt.
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and my
Thanks.
only
Okay, thank
request
you.
is, my only request is that we've been onboarding different people to help with PR review, different pieces of that leading up to maintainer review. It may be nice, if you don't mind, any of those convos that are private, if the results of onboarding thing could be added to one of the public channels, that would be nice, because we can then add that to this, like these notes that we're just putting together beyond the files that we already have in our contributing guide and maintainer onboarding and all that.
Yeah, and I would say we probably need to do a better job with good first issue ones. I don't know if we've got a lot of those right now, but we probably need to do a better job with that. I know Robert, who's not here today, has actually made a number of changes to our contributing guides and things like that as he's been onboarding to try to help clean some of that up. So I know some of it has been happening in the background, and I appreciate that kind of thing.
Yeah, I frequently take things as help wanted, but I don't necessarily take them as good first issue. I should do that. Good point.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that myself. So
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day. And speak next week. We're at time.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Thanks. Bye.